All right, welcome back for part two there, folks. What I'm going to do here, and I think you should probably take this into your notes, even though we're going to get more practice at this before the end of the unit, is the idea of a walkthrough. It's one of the most important skills in computer science is reading some code and figuring out what it does. Um, and, the idea of we're going to be the computer. We're going to be the computer. I'm not actually going to, well, we did run this, but I'm going to sort of walk through and figure out what the computer is doing. So um, I've got two things. I've got memory and output here in my uh, what is sometimes called a trace table, and I'm going to try and type this as much as I can. Um, and I've got the program here just so I can see it. You're probably putting yours on a new page, and that's fine. So the computer, you know, fires up and makes a new console. We're not worried about that in memory, even though that does take up space in memory. We want the stuff that we're doing. So the first thing is double amount declares a variable called amount. So I'm going to put that in memory. And if I wanted to, there's certain things um, that goes with that, like how many memory spots. Well, we don't have to worry too much about that, but it's a double, so there's a certain amount of spots put aside in memory. Um, Notice that no initial value was given for amount, so it's blank. And this is the computer gets hung up on this sometimes, but we're not worried about right now. Then the next command puts a value called total, and also puts an initial value of 0, right? So it has a value of 0, okay? And then it starts into the loop. The next command for int counter equals 1. So what does that do? That puts a spot in memory called counter, lets it be 1, and then we're off and running. So then it compares this. Is this true? Well, it's 1. 1 is less than or equal to 5. That's true. So then it's going to do the prompt, right? And I'm not going to type that. Well, maybe I could. No. Well, copy. There's the output. I'm going to try and do this. It's going to be a bit of a mess, but please enter lunch for amount, and then it says counter. So then it looks up in memory. Oh, day 1. All right. So day 1, and then it puts the little prompt there. And notice that I'm going to use those values as my input from the keyboard. So amount equals c dot read double, I'm going to use 6 for that. So then that means it reads a 6 and puts it in that's the 6, the first one, and then puts it into amount. So right there, 6. And sometimes you can put this up here or you put it down a line just so we can see what's happening and when. Now it goes total equals total plus amount. So this is a calculation, and the computer looks up in memory, what's total? Well, total is 0. Amount is 6. So 0 plus 6, well, then it reassigns that to total. So 0 plus 6. And notice that normally we wouldn't actually put that calculation in there, but um, the value becomes 6 anyway. And then it clunks out, goes up, does the increment. It says counter equals counter plus 1. So it looks up counter was 1, adds 1 to that, and becomes 2. Right? And then checks the condition. Is the condition true? 2 is less than or equal to 5. Yes, it is. And so it's going to do this statement again. And we kind of see what's going on here. We're just walking through being the computer. That's this command right here. The second time, counter is 2, and then it's reads, and I'm going to read and pretend I read in 7. So the amount that I read in was 7. Oops. Get rid of that for now. That becomes 7. And then that was this command the second time, this one right here. Then it's going to run this command, total equals total plus amount. So what's total is 6, amount is 7. So then it thinks, okay, 6 plus 7, and that's 13 so far. Finishes the for loop, realizes that it's at the end of the loop, increments counter, and off we go. Are you getting the idea of how this walkthrough business works? Very important skill in computer science. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this a few times, and then I know it's going to occur 5 times, right? Oops, 5. And then what's going to happen? Well, it's going to grab 8. And then go 13 plus 8 here, because total was 13, new amount was 8, and then it calculated that. Gets to the end of the loop, increments the counter to 4. Now we're on day 4, and it keeps going. So amount, so we're going to read in a 9 now. This would have been easier in a word processor with a table. I hope maybe you guys were smart and never used Smart Notebook. This is kind of a pain doing this, isn't it? Total is 21, new amount was 9, 30. Gets to the end of the loop, counter goes up to 5, from 4 to 5. Now notice it's getting close, right? Something weird's going to happen here, but is 5 less than or equal to 5? Is 5 less than or equal to 5? Yes, it's equal to. So this is still true. So that means it's going to run the loop again. I'm running out of room here, but I'm going to read in a 10 there. Oops. Am I making a arithmetic error? No, I'm okay. Was 30. And then added the new 10 to get 40. Notice then we're on this line the 5th time that it runs, gets to the end of the loop, increments counter. That actually gets to 6. Then it checks. Counter is less than or equal to 5. Is that true? No, it's not true. So then it clunks out. Now it actually ends the loop, clunks out, and a strange thing happens here is that since counter was only in this loop, it's what's called the scope of that variable. Counter is only known in this loop. This actually gets released back to memory. Right? This disappears. And if I were to actually ask it to print out counter on the outside of that loop, it would give me an error message. Watch this. So if I say c.println counter, it's going to say, what are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. See, boom, no field name counter. Well, it's right there. Can't you see it there, computer? It's right there. No, it's only in this loop. After this loop ends, that gets released back to memory. So there is no counter outside that loop. So this is gone. And then it clunks out of the loop, and then finally prints out your total was, and hopefully it does a total of 40. I'm hoping. Once I got that right. Did I do the math right? Let's see. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, $40. Not very nice output there. I should have a dollar sign and 2 zeros, but I'll let you worry about that. This is just a note, isn't it? And so, let's see. Over here was your total was $40, and we should have been able to predict actually that it would be that sort of bad output because we knew it was going to be a double, and it wasn't formatted very nicely. Okay, so that's a walkthrough, and that's an easy one. I think part of the you might have done one yesterday, and part of today's stuff at some point you're going to need to do some more walkthroughs. But today's stuff is actually a little fun, just getting the computer to use some for loops. I also had or asked you, what is all that? Did you get that stuff in there? Yes. Did we talk about that? Did you get that in your note? Yeah, okay, good. Is I'm going to insert a picture in your picture file from um, Edmodo. I already went and downloaded mine. It's a page out of a textbook that I like using. What's going on here? Why is that not working? Come on, you. Cancel. Show you the picture that I wanted to insert. Maybe I'll just open it. It's this page 163, and it's a vendor can't open the it's either deleted or in a location that isn't available. I wonder if my USB isn't working for some reason. Anyway, that picture I wanted you to. That's not very good news that my USB isn't working. To insert, and it's a nice picture that talks about the for loop, and you can. It's another version of the same note that we just took. So read that over, include that in your note, resave your note, and then you're on to the exercises which are described on the website. Okay, have fun with that.